Welcome to Geniuses Cast. In this podcast, we introduce the movers, shakers, and disruptors in the startup world. We focus not only on the brand itself, but also the person who's shaping up the brand. My guest today is Karishma Gupta, who's CEO of Eslando, a circular fashion brand on a mission to accelerate textile recycling. I actually read yesterday that circular fashion market could be worth over $500 billion. So clearly, Krishma is disrupting a very large market, and we're super excited to have Krishma join our podcast. Krishma, thank you so much. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very well. Thank you.
So I think the first question would always be, people are interested in learning more about yourself. Who are you? Where are you coming from? Before we really get into the brand, tell us more about yourself personally and professionally.
Yeah. I'm Karishma. I am the founder and CEO of Eslando Circular Fashion. I am a fashion technologist who has specialized in garment manufacturing technology. I used to work for large scale apparel manufacturers and work in sewing lines as a production and quality manager. I've worked in multiple countries in the eastern side of the world. I then moved to the UK to study fashion entrepreneurship at London College of Fashion. I've always been attracted to fashion since very early beginning, and I started researching into the circular fashion businesses or the circular fashion model. Circular economy is quite close to my heart, as my family has a recycling business back in India. We recycle waste paper, so I always thought, oh, it'll be cool to do something for textiles recycling. I don't know what happens in that sector. So as I moved and progressed in this space, I realized textile recycling is such a big opportunity and such a big missed opportunity. I'd say you have the industry produces over 100 billion clothes every year, and out of which 85% goes straight away into landfills or incineration, and then within that 25% that is taken for recycling, only less than 1% are recycled back into new clothing. Rest are going into reselling, upselling, and then ultimately reaching landfill. So how do we fix this mega problem? So that's something that I have put myself on the quest of.
Very good. This is super exciting. And Krishma, I think we are super interested in understanding, what sort of leader are you? As a young entrepreneur, what does it take from a leadership perspective to really go out there and build something amazing? And clearly, we know you're very clear on your mission. You're disrupting a very large and actually very much a very important market as well when it comes to doing good. But from a leadership perspective, as a young entrepreneur, how do you define leadership?
Um, I it's a very interesting thing when you put a young entrepreneur and leadership together. Um, I'd say I kind of look at leadership as having a vision, having a mission, have some sort of purpose for not just for yourself, but the society that you live in, the world that you live in, and something that you leave behind for people who are not yet born. Um, so that mission and vision is very important for being categorized as leader, I feel. And the kind of leader I am, I'm very outspoken kind of person. I speak what I feel out, and I like to communicate with people I'm working with who are close on this journey. I like to surround myself with like-minded people who are also vision and mission driven. Have they Not everybody will have the same vision as me, for sure. Some would go into, say, agricultural impact, food impact, or that kind of space. I'd like to surround myself with like-minded people who want to make an impact in this space, as well as people who I can be inspired from, the ones who are going in other spaces of impact.
Very
So
good.
yeah.
And I think stats show that over 90% of startups actually fail. The question would be, what is the driving factor for a startup to be successful? Obviously, you're at the early stage, but as you're preparing for future, what do you think makes a startup tick and really not be in one of those 90% that go down?
I think I've seen quite a lot of startups fail because they lacked a vision of they did not know what they wanted to achieve or how far they want to take it. The ones who have succeeded always had a vision to maybe connect communities or maybe make an impact on the society, and they were very clear on the founder or the founding team were very clear on their why of them doing it, because how you reach there would change over time. You will pivot. We have pivoted. We have made so many changes and improvements along the line, but that mission or the vision of the company is very clear that this is what we're attacking and this is what we're solving. No matter how, we're going to reach there.
Okay. Okay. Very good. I think you already talked about the brand and sort of the mission you're trying to achieve. Maybe share what are some of the brand values and what sort of prompted you to come up with the name Eslando?
Um, in terms of our name, Eslando comes from our original name that we run with, Sadat Land. So S in Eslando is short for Sadat, which means sustainable, and land is that world that we want to create, a sustainable world that we want to create for ourselves and for those who are yet to come. That's what our name means. It's a sustainable world. In terms of our values, is the first and foremost value is beauty. I kind of feel as a founder or a company that everyone on this planet deserves to experience its natural beauty. There's we're very privileged to live in the UK and see everything's very clean and everything, but there are billions of people who are living in under pollution, living near landfills and other things, and I feel this value of preserving the beauty of the nature of our planet is very strong for me, because when you are out there in a nice place, you just feel very good. It takes you out. Then authenticity is another value. We want to talk with, we believe in being honest and speaking our truth, and we are very visionary. Another mission, or sorry, brand value of ours is being visionary, like having a vision for the world. That Eslando itself is a sustainable world that we want to create. So being a visionary in everything that we do, and believing that there's a better way of doing things as well. So yeah,
Okay.
these are our top 3 values.
Very good. And how has your journey been so far? Obviously, you've overcome the sort of the first phase, and now you're more in a startup to scale up phase. What have you achieved so far? How have you overcome any roadblockers, and what has gotten you up to this stage?
In this journey, there have been roadblocks after roadblocks. I think every day is a roadblock, and solving that roadblock is your top priority as a founder, CEO of the company. We've had many. Finding the right people has been a roadblock, and there are people you work with them and you realize that they're not the right fit for you, or they're not needed. So those roadblocks, and being prepared, being agile, being flexible has been that quality in myself as a founder. Being resilient and being flexible has been very, very useful in overcoming many of the roadblocks. Funding had been a challenge. We never had the funds, but we kept on winning awards. I kept on going. I kept on joining accelerators after accelerators. I kept on asking people, can you help me? Can you help me? And it came. So that resilience and that belief in yourself is something that can help you overcome any roadblock that you're facing.
It seems like resilience is the common thread. I think as an entrepreneur, you almost have to be brutal. There has to be an element of brutality and arrogance in terms of what you believe, and you keep going. Amazing to see your, how far you achieved so far in this journey. I think I'm just gonna maybe shift a little bit and have you talk about the market itself of circular fashion. What are some of the challenges? Are you seeing, sort of government support that is needed as well? What about consumer adoption as well? Because I think the market has to be ready. Obviously, you are building an amazing product and platform, but are you seeing the market is ready? What do you need the market to create for you so that you have the right building blocks to scale up the brand?
Right. So in terms of the market, the circular fashion market, as you pointed out earlier, is set to be over $500 billion by 2030. The overall fashion market is a $5 trillion industry. It is the second largest industry in terms of intensity of trade. Second, it is the biggest employer in the world as well, fashion industry. It employs quite a lot of people throughout the value chain, from farms to factories to people in retail shops to people in advertising, to a lot of people go into this. So there's an economy going within itself, within the fashion world. There are loads of opportunities to do it better. It's also the second, depending on where you're reading it, second most polluting industry on the planet, right? And it gives out 10% of global carbon emissions, or global greenhouse gas emissions, to be fair. Then you have exploitation of resources. There's loads of opportunities to improve as a industry itself. So circular fashion is something where all the governments are working in. There is loads of support from the government and people who are impact driven, the professionals. So we've been supported by the government itself by winning the Innovate UK grant. There are specialized grants both from European Union, from the UK, in the US, all over the world, to make this industry circular.
Okay, and where are you seeing Eslando as a brand? Maybe 5 years or even 10 years. What is the vision? What are you trying to achieve?
Our ultimate vision is to see textile recycling happen, right? It's the bar is set so low right now that less than 1% are being recycled. Less than 1 billion clothes are being recycled out of 100 billion clothes. So the bar is very, very low. And that's global number in this world where fashion is part of every country's main revenue sector, right? We want to get to this level where we can accelerate in, say, 10 years time, change that 1% to 25%, have quarter of that in 10 years. It's very ambitious. It is very ambitious, but we'll reach there. See that there is a channel for clothing to go. First, we need to set up an infrastructure where that information of the clothing, what it's made out of, because the problem that we are solving is that when sorters receive the discarded clothes, they really don't know the composition of the product. We want to make sure that they know the composition of the product so that it can be forwarded to the right recycler, because a polyester recycler these textile makers or recyclers are like billion-dollar plants. A polyester one will not take cotton. There'll be chemical recycling, but that's such a small sector right now. And it's obviously the impact of that sector is not clear, like what is the impact of chemicals out there. So mechanical recycling is what we are focusing on, and making sure that this information of what this product is made out of is with the sorters first, and that goes to recycling. So those are our step changes that we're taking.
Thank you so much for sharing the vision, and I think some really powerful stats there as well. So I think finally, I would like to wrap up maybe asking you a generic question for all those entrepreneurs, young professionals who are starting out on their own. Do you have any advice? I know you talk about resilience, but what else do they need? Maybe talk about some of the advice and best practices.
I mean, any advice that I can give to young entrepreneurs or anyone at any stage of life that wants to do a startup is take the first step, get started. That's how you do it. One day you just wake up and you say, I will do it. I will do it today. Like, you don't have to do the entire thing in one day, but you take the first step. Like, think about what's your first step that will take you to your vision of that startup that you have, what you want to do, what problem you're trying to solve. Take that first step. Always go out, speak to people. There's no harm in sharing your ideas. I studied entrepreneurship. My professor on the first day said that nobody's out there stealing your idea because people are working on their own.
Very powerful advice.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your time. And we are looking forward to seeing you and Eslando reach new heights in the coming months and years.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Zeeshan.